Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. We got some football to talk about, baby. Can't forget my Zinzaruskis, man. Also, got a Red Baker for the Thursday night game tonight. Very excited to watch that game. It's going to be a pretty good game. I like the matchup, Falcons, Bucks. Should be a pretty even matchup. Money line's very close, too. I think the Falcons are favored by just a little bit. So, -2, actually. It's actually right there. So, but welcome in, everyone who's been watching this video. My name is Jordan. I'll be your host for the Fantasy Fanatic Football Podcast today. And today we're going to be talking about the NFL Week 5 slate. We're also going to be talking about some start and sit players this week. We do have bye weeks in effect, so that's definitely going to affect some people's fantasy teams. So we'll go into some players that I think would be really good fits to add into your team if you're looking to go to waivers or if you're looking to make trades or anything like that. If you're that desperate on bye weeks to make trades, then I don't think you should be doing fantasy football, but that's just me. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start off with a banger game tonight. Buccaneers-Falcons. Very excited to see how this matchup goes. Currently, we have the Falcons predicted to win in this game. I really do like the matchup for the Falcons. The Buccaneers defense has been struggling to start this year, and I think Bijan Robinson is destined to have a good game. So I would assume that Bijan will definitely bounce back from the week that he had last week and have a really great week. I would say over 15 to 20 points easily. Chris Godwin has been crushing this year. I do believe that he is going to be continuing to crush. And then Mike Evans, I think, will actually have a good chance of playing as well. What really helps both of these guys the most is Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer are both out. So the options for Baker Mayfield have slimmed down in this offense. So you're going to see more production out of both of them. You're going to see maybe some more opportunities for Cade Otton. Even Sterling Shepard, former OU guy, he actually showed up in the game last week and played pretty decent. I mean, not for any fantasy purposes, but played pretty decent, and I think he might show up this week too. So, so with those injuries, that's definitely going to play a part. From what it looks like pretty much everyone on the Falcons' offense is healthy, so there's no issues on that side of the ball. I believe I'm going to be flexing Darnell Mooney today, so hopefully I get some production out of him. And then I'll also have Drake London in my other league. So hopefully both of those guys crush today. I expect this to be a pretty decent scoring game. So very excited to see how that goes. I do want to pick the Bucks in this game. I think the Bucks are going to get the win. But I do think it's going to be a pretty close game throughout the whole day. So, but yeah, very excited for this Thursday night matchup. And then we'll go ahead and we'll get into the Sunday slate too. Got some really good games going on for Sunday. First game we're going to talk about is Patriots-Dolphins. So obviously both teams are struggling right now. The Tua injury has completely derailed the Dolphins, and then the Patriots are just not good. Right now, we still have a questionable tag for Skylar Thompson, but I do believe that Tyler Huntley is once again going to start this week. So if you are in a duo QB league or anything like that where you got the super flex spot and you need a QB, I mean, you could throw him in there, but you saw what he did last week. He honestly, I would probably not recommend it, but if you're desperate for a QB, then I mean, go ahead, go for it. I don't recommend it, but it's looking like he's going to be the guy this week. And then Looking at the Patriots side of things, doesn't really look like there's any big-time injuries. KJ Osborne, which is not really fantasy relevant, is questionable. So am interested to kind of see how this rushing attack for the Patriots is going to go tonight. I'm curious to see if Antonio Gibson is going to continue to get more usage in this offense, and Ramondre is going to take a dip down just because of Ramondre having a fumble in every single game so far this season. So he's had a hard time taking care of the ball. So we'll kind of see how that goes for him. And then also, are we going to get any production out of any of the wide receivers for either teams? Is Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, are they even going to be worth starting this week? I mean, it's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, so I mean, I would definitely still start them. But if you have better options, that are on better offenses and better situations, definitely I would think you would start over them. But I do expect the Patriots to actually win this game because I don't think Miami has any chance of really scoring much. Devon Achane should probably have a decent game. He disappointed last week, but I think he'll be able to get the running game involved a lot more. But I do think the Patriots will come out with a dub this week. And that's not me being biased. I just do not like how the Dolphins' offense looks with Tyler Huntley under center right now. So, and they struggled against the Titans like big time. So, and the Titans aren't a great team either. Vikings and Jets up next. So right now, this is looking like right now. The Vikings are only a -2.5 favorite in this game. After the Jets had an absolute terrible game against the Broncos last week. So as we look into this matchup. Aaron Rodgers does have a questionable tag. I'm sure he'll be good to go, though. And then we look at the other side. Supposedly, TJ Hawkinson has a chance of maybe returning this week, so we'll keep that monitored. We'll see if he gets going. He'll probably be on a limited snap count, I'm sure, but definitely worth monitoring to see how he plays if he does, which it's saying he's estimated to return. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, the Vikings, one of the best teams in the NFL currently with how they've been playing so far. They've been hot. Sam Darnold and Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson are all crushing. Jordan Addison crushed last week. So I do think that with how this line is looking, the Jets are probably going to have a decent bounce-back week. They're going to make this game close. I do expect a decent game for Breece Hall. But this is going to be a tough matchup for all the Minnesota wide receivers and a tough matchup for Sam Darnold. So we'll see how this goes for him. And then it'll also be a very tough matchup for Aaron Rodgers on the other side because of how great Minnesota's defense has played this year. I do think they're going to continue to play good. So this will be a tough matchup for both sides of the ball. But yeah, I think I'm going to lean towards Minnesota. I think Minnesota is going to continue to crush. I think that this will be a closer game, though, for sure, with how the line's looking. And I would for sure start Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, and then if you need a flex spot, if you're desperate, Lazard continues to get a lot of usage in this offense. He gets a lot of targets and stuff, so he's definitely worth a flex spot in my mind. And then obviously Garrett Wilson. He's been disappointing, but you do have to continue starting him. So Panthers-Bears up next. As we look at this matchup, Panthers, obviously, their offense has been playing a lot better, and with Andy Dalton under center. And then the Bears got a pretty decent win last week. DeAndre Swift crushed. So this is a good matchup for DeAndre Swift. He should come in and hopefully crush this week, so hopefully he plays well once again. Maybe we'll see the wide receivers for Chicago get more involved, such as DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. And then I think Deontay Johnson will continue to crush. He does have a questionable tag. We'll see how healthy he is going into this game, but I do expect him to play. And then, obviously, Caleb Williams, he's been kind of iffy to start. I probably wouldn't start him. There's a lot of other better options out there. Chuba Hubbard is continuing to crush as well. This is a little bit of a tough matchup for Chuba, though. We'll kind of see how he plays against this tough Chicago defense. But, yeah, I think this game's going to be pretty good. I actually do kind of want to lean towards Carolina a little bit in this game.
I do think it's going to be very high scoring. I would probably take the +4 on the points for Carolina for sure. Maybe even sprinkle a little bit on that money line because I think that Carolina could get the dub this week. So we'll see how that goes. I just think Andy Dalton being the more veteran quarterback, I think he'll show out. And I think that Caleb Williams will definitely get a lot of passing volume. I think he'll look pretty good in this game, but I do like the Panthers in this game. Ravens-Bengals up next. This game's going to be really good. Obviously, the Ravens are playing a lot better now. Won the last 2 games. Bengals won their last game against the Panthers. Right now, the line is at -3 for Baltimore. I will probably continue to ride with Baltimore this week. I do think that they'll pull out the dub on this one. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry are crushing this year. Derrick Henry is showing that he's one of the top running backs in fantasy right now, and he continues to be that way, so obviously a must-start. Justice Hill, I think, is also a pretty decent flex spot with how much he's been getting involved in the receiving game. And then obviously we're a little hesitant about the wide receivers and tight ends for the Ravens. We haven't really had a lot of great usage out of Zay Flowers these last couple weeks. Hopefully Zay Flowers comes back, bounces back, and crushes. But I do think Joe Burrow is going to play very well in this game too. I do think Jamar Chase will have another great game. I think T. Higgins will get involved a lot too and have a decent game as well. So both of those guys definitely must start wide receivers going in. Zach Moss and Chase Brown. I prefer Chase Brown over Zach Moss. And I think that's going to continue to be a committee in this backfield, so we'll kind of see how that goes. Chase Brown definitely had the better game last week with the 2 touchdowns, and he just looks better overall. So Chase Brown, I think, will continue to crush. He's looking really good. But Zach Moss will obviously still be involved in this offense, so I'm going to take Baltimore on their line. I think that they will cover the -3, even though it is away. It will be a little bit of a tougher matchup for them, but I do think that they're going to stay hot. So, and then we got Browns Commanders up next. This game, right now, dude, I really like how Washington's playing, but this is a tough matchup for them going in. Obviously, the Browns defense is really good, and they could give Jaden Daniels problems. I do think that their defensive line up front will be able to contain Jaden Daniels for the most part and not have him rush the ball as much as he's been able to so far to start this season. But their offense looks so good, it's almost hard to bet against them with how good their offense looks. But this is a tough matchup for them. And also, I just don't trust the offense for the Browns whatsoever. So their offenses look really bad this year. We are still kind of awaiting to see if Nick Chubb is going to return this week. He's been limited in practice. If he does come back this week, that'll be something to monitor to see kind of how it goes. He'll probably be limited, I'm sure. I'm sure Jerome Ford will probably still get a little bit of the bulk of the work. But Nick Chubb, I think, will play in this game if he continues to practice this week. And then obviously David Njoku might be coming back as well. I think if he comes back, then I think he's for sure a must-start tight end. And then obviously with Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, those guys definitely worth some flex spots, but definitely risky flex spots with just how bad this offense is. And then I continue to say that Terry McLaurin and Brian Robinson will crush. Brian Robinson is questionable too. He hasn't been practicing. He has a knee injury supposedly. So if he doesn't play, then Austin Eckler, if he's healthy, good to go, then Austin Eckler should be a must-start running back in this offense. So, but yeah, I really do like Washington in this game. I do think that this will be more lower scoring than what it's projected out to be, though. So I think that you just take that with a grain of salt. And I think that, oh man, it's tough. I think that it will probably go. I would probably go under the total points in this game. I do think that at least the Browns defense is going to contain Washington, but they're still going to probably struggle to score. Even though Washington's defense, they did look good last week, they're not really that great on paper still to me. So I think the Browns will have a couple touchdowns in this game. I think that the Washington will get contained. So I'd probably take the under total on this game. Next up, we got Colts-Jaguars. This matchup right here should be projected out to be
the Jaguars' first win of the season. They do desperately need a win. Obviously, we got a lot of questionable tags right now. If Jonathan Taylor's not good to go this week, then obviously Trey Sermon's going to be the lead back. That'll definitely hurt the Colts, though. So if he's not playing, then I think I would definitely lean towards the Jaguars. And then Anthony Richardson's still questionable, but I do think he will play. And then Gabe Davis is questionable. Evan Ingram's questionable as well. I do think that both of these guys might come back and play this week. So right now, I am leaning towards Jacksonville in this game just because of the uncertainty of Jonathan Taylor. And I do think that their defense could definitely cause Anthony Richardson a little bit of problems. ETN is also questionable as well, but I do think he will play in this game. Brian Thomas is continuing to look like he's the top guy in this offense, wide receiver-wise, so I would continue to start him every week if you got him. But yeah, I do like Jacksonville in this game. I think that Trevor Lawrence will finally get his first win after almost, it seems like forever since he's gotten a win. It's been a long time, like his last 7 starts or something like that, 6 or 7 starts. So I do think that Jacksonville will pull this game out. I would probably just do money line on this game. I think it will still be close. But yeah, definitely going to be a great matchup right there. And then we got Bills-Texans up next. This is going to be a great game. Very excited to watch this game, one of the more exciting games to watch for this Sunday slate. Right now it's looking like we do have some optimism that Joe Mixon will be back this week, so that'd be huge for Houston. Khalil Shakir is also hurt, but I think he will play as well. We'll keep that monitored. Tank Dell should play hopefully this week too. He's looking like he's been practicing. But yeah, right now Houston is not the favorite. This one's basically like a pick-em to me. I think that both teams offensively are going to play very well. I think this will be a higher scoring game. I will probably lean towards I'd probably lean towards Houston in this game more, just because I do like the matchup for them coming in, and they're at home too. Nico Collins has continued to crush, looking like one of the best wide receivers in the league currently, leading the league in receiving yards. So I would probably for sure think that he's going to continue to trend in the right direction. And I think C.J. Stroud will have a big game as well. And then, obviously, I'd love a big game for James Cook, but this is a tough matchup for him, so we'll see how he gets involved with the rushing game. He'll probably be involved as a receiver a little bit more in this game, which is what I'm hoping for. So, but yeah, this will be a great matchup. Excited to watch it. I'm going to lean towards Houston in this game. I think Houston, I would just take their money line on this. I do think that they will get the win at home, but tough matchup for them, though. Raiders-Broncos. Probably going to be a really boring game. Probably won't even care about it whatsoever. Obviously, we are not expecting Devontae Adams to play whatsoever. Devontae Adams has been obviously trying to get traded, so we'll kind of see. We'll monitor that, see where he goes eventually, because I think that they are willing to trade him, so we'll see what happens with that. Zamir White's questionable, but that really doesn't matter. Their rushing attack sucks here. And it's kind of the same with Denver, too. I mean, their rushing attack isn't very optimistic as well. Right now, Denver is the favorite. They are the ones that are at home. They did get a big win over the Jets last week, so coming off their offense looking terrible, and they still won that game. We'll kind of see how this goes. If no Devontae Adams, I kind of want to lean towards Denver in this game. I think it's just going to be a very ugly game from the get-go. And Denver, for some reason, in ugly games, they usually come up on top. So any players worth starting on either team this week for them? Brock Bowers obviously continues to crush. I would definitely keep Brock Bowers in the lineup. And then if you need a good, decent flex spot for someone who gets a lot of targets and usage, Cortland Sutton's not a bad option either. Jacoby Myers should probably continue to get the bulk of the targets in this offense, so definitely worth considering him as well. But yeah, I'll lean towards Denver in this game. I'll just take their money line. And then we got Cardinals 49ers. This should be another hopefully good game, but the Cardinals have not been looking good recently. But I do hope to see the Cardinals actually bounce back and have a great week. It is a tough matchup for them. Obviously, this 49ers defense is very, very tough to play against.
And then Cardinals defense is going to have a hard time trying to figure out how to stop San Francisco on offense, with them pretty much getting all their players back other than Christian McCaffrey still. I will say that Kyler Murray must start, James Conner must start, Marvin Harrison must start for sure. Brock Purdy's got a good matchup too, so I think he'll play very well. Jordan Mason continues to crush. And then obviously you got Debo, you got Kittle, and you got Brandon Ayuk. So hopefully we'll see some more work from Brandon Ayuk. Trey McBride is questionable. I do think that he will play this week, though. So if Trey McBride comes back, then Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch will be a little bit more iffy to maybe throw in a flex spot if you're desperate for one. But yeah, this will be a great game. I'm obviously going to ride with San Francisco in this one. I think that they will cover that -7 spread. But I think this game will be pretty fun to watch. Hopefully Arizona comes back and bounces back and has a good week. But I do think that it's just hard not to say the 49ers will cover that spread. So Packers-Rams. This one, I do like the Packers in this game. I know that they are away, but even though Jordan Love did have a lot of turnovers that game, he still had a lot of touchdowns too. And they almost came back and won that game last week against Minnesota. Jaden Reed continues to crush, looking like the top option in this offense, so I would continue to ride with him. Josh Jacobs is definitely a guy to start this week for sure. Kyron Williams is looking like the top guy in this Rams offense, so he's going to probably continue to crush as well. And then if you need a flex spot, Tutu Atwell's starting to look like he's becoming the top receiver here, so I would definitely consider him, and then I would also consider starting Jordan Whittington too, because he's looking like number 2. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty good matchup. I do like Dontavian Wicks and Romeo Doubs in flex spots too, just because of how much passing volume that Green Bay had last week. I think that they will have just as much passing volume too in this game. So I will lean towards Green Bay. I think that they will cover the -3 spread. Next up, we got Giants-Seahawks. Seahawks looking like they should win this game, but Malik Neighbors coming off questionable. Devin Singletary's questionable as well. If there is no Malik Neighbors this week, then I would for sure go with the Seahawks 100% on this -6.5 line. Daniel Jones has not looked the worst, but I would prefer Geno Smith over him for sure. And then DK has been crushing this year. Must-start guy for sure. I do like flex spots for Tyler Lockett and Jackson Smith-Njigba because they've been getting a lot of work too. Obviously, Kenneth Walker's a must-start guy. Kenneth Walker should crush this week as well. And then if you have no Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson becomes a guy that I think is going to be getting a lot of work. He is questionable as well, but Wan'Dale, if he is good to go, which I think he will be, then that guy for sure should be a must-start this week because he looks like he'll be the top option in this offense. I'd take the Seahawks spread on this one. And then we got 2 more games left. We got Cowboys-Steelers. This one should be pretty interesting to watch. Obviously, Pittsburgh coming off their first loss of the season, and then Dallas getting the dub against Giants last week. We do have a couple injuries for both teams. Michael Parsons is doubtful, so that really does not help the Cowboys at all. Brandon Cooks is out as well. Jaylen Warren, Cordell Patterson, both questionable, so if both end up not playing, which they might, but if they don't end up playing, Najee Harris becomes for sure a must-start running back. He'll get all the usage in this offense. Justin Fields, I do like the matchup for him with no Micah Parsons, so I do think that he will crush this week. Dak Prescott should have it's a tough matchup for them, so CeeDee Lamb definitely must start, but it's going to be a tougher matchup for him. I'm not really too sure if I would start any Dallas running backs this week with how tough this matchup is for him. So, but I will ride with Pittsburgh this week. I think Pittsburgh at home will get the win. I think that they will limit Dallas's offense completely, stop their running game completely, and force them to pass a lot. So, and then last but not least, we got the Saints and Chiefs for the Monday night game. Right now, obviously, the Chiefs dealing with a lot of injuries. No Rashee Rice, no Isaiah Pacheco. But we do expect maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire to come back. So I don't really know if he'll get any usage in this offense with them going kind of towards Kareem Hunt starting for running back right now. But we'll kind of see how that goes. Right now it looks like pretty much only Taysom Hill is the only guy really that is questionable on this team that is maybe worth a start at the tight end flex spot this week. And then this is looking like a good matchup. I will probably lean towards the Chiefs in this game. I will think that they will stay undefeated, but I might take New Orleans on the plus 5.5. I think Alvin Kamara will have a great game. I think Chris Olave will have a great game as well. I do expect the rushing game for the Kansas City Chiefs to kind of struggle. I do think that they will be passing a lot. But we'll definitely say that Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce are must-start guys going forward with no Rashee Rice. So, but give me the Chiefs winning this game, but I do like the Saints spread. I think it will be a pretty close game. So, but Lions, Titans, Eagles, Chargers, all bye weeks currently. So all these teams have some pretty solid players that you cannot play, unfortunately, this week. So, yeah. Let's go real quick to let me go and all right, so my say for my top guys to start this week, running back wise, Kyron Williams, Jordan Mason, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Walker, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Devon Achane, Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, Brian Robinson Jr. Those are definitely guys definitely worth starting. Then we'll put a tier below them. We'll do James Cook, DeAndre Swift, Jacobs, Chuba, and then I'd maybe lean towards someone like Chase Brown or Najee Harris if he ends up getting all the work in this backfield this week. And then the tier below them will be guys such as Javonte Williams, Jerome Ford, Travis Etienne, Kareem Hunt, Rashad White. Austin Eckler will definitely boost up if Brian Robinson doesn't play, so I would put him a tier on the same tier as Brian Robinson if he does end up playing. But yeah, that'll be kind of like the running backs for me, wide receiver wise. Looking like I would probably go towards must start guys are Debo, Nico, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jamar, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Reed, Deontay Johnson, DK, Drake London, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans both have great matchups. Brandon Ayuk, hopefully, will have a better week this week. We'll kind of see what happens with him. He'll be on the tier below. George Pickens, tier below. DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Olave, McLaurin, Diggs, Pittman. And then I would probably go a tier below them, such as Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Darnell, Brian Thomas, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, Christian Kirk, Wandell. He'll get boosted up if there is no Malik Neighbors. Xavier Worthy, I think, would be a tier above. I think Xavier Worthy could crush this week, so I like him a lot this week for sure. But yeah, whenever I get some time, I'll try to see if I can start doing like tier lists for my favorite matchups this week and my players like on a tier list, just to kind of show you a better option for that. And I'll figure that out eventually. I'll get something going for that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here. Appreciate everyone that came into the stream today, and we will be back for another video.